What if the daily grind, the very thing you're doing to keep your business afloat, is the one thing stopping you from building a real empire? You're working harder than ever, pouring every ounce of your soul into your business, but you feel permanently stuck in survival mode. Every single day is a battle for inches, for dollars, for just one moment of peace. You look up at the end of the month, and you're right back where you started, only now you're completely exhausted. And look, this isn't just about food trucks. This is about your business, whether you're a podiatrist, a programmer, a cafe owner, or a consultant. But we're going to use the powerful, real-world example of a food truck to show you the way out. This truck was in the exact same spot, teetering on the edge, one bad week away from going under. Today, it's a thriving, multi-location empire, and the simple, powerful strategies they used are universal. They can change everything for you, starting right now. Forget surviving, it's time to build. The before picture, the grind of survival. Let me paint a picture for you and tell me if this feels painfully familiar. Imagine a food truck, we'll call it the Rolling Feast, and its owner, Alex. In the beginning, Alex was the business. He was the chef, the driver, the cashier, the marketer, the bookkeeper, and the janitor. That dream of entrepreneurial freedom, it started to feel a lot more like a prison of responsibility. His days were a 16-hour blur of prep, service, and cleanup. His nights were spent staring at spreadsheets, worrying about inventory, and wrestling with that constant nagging question, are enough customers going to show up tomorrow? Now, the Rolling Feast had a decent product. People liked the food, but decent and liked don't build empires. Revenue was a total roller coaster. One week, a local festival would bring in a windfall, giving him a taste of what was possible. The next, 3 days of rain and a bad location would wipe out all the gains, and then some. Alex was making a classic, critical mistake that so many of us make. He was confusing being busy with being productive. He was working so relentlessly in the business that he had no time, no energy, and zero perspective to work on the business. Everything was reactive. A generator breaks, the day's awash. A competitor parks across the street, sales plummet. He was just plugging holes in a dam that was about to burst. There was no long-term vision because the short-term fires demanded all of his attention. The passion that got him started was flickering, about to be snuffed out by the sheer exhaustion of just trying to stay afloat. This survival mode is dangerous quicksand. It fools you into thinking the solution is to work even harder, to run faster on the hamster wheel. But the real answer isn't more effort. It's a better strategy. This was the moment of truth for Alex. Continue down this path and burn out or change everything. He chose to change, and that change started with one simple, powerful question. Where am I actually positioned to win? The first pillar of empire, position. The first huge shift for the Rolling Feast wasn't about a new menu or a bigger team. It was about completely rethinking the idea of position. Now, for a food truck, that sounds simple. It's about location, right? But for any business, position is about putting what you offer directly in the path of your most profitable customers. The problem: Alex was a gambler. He'd park his truck in a spot that felt like it should be busy and just hope for the best. He was running on luck. Some days he'd hit a small jackpot. Most days he'd barely cover his costs. He was in general locations, hoping for general customers and getting general results. In other words, mediocrity. He was invisible. Just another option. For a podiatrist, this is like opening an office in a random strip mall with zero foot traffic. For a developer, it's having a generic portfolio lost in a sea of freelancers. You're a needle in a haystack, just waiting for someone to stumble upon you. That's not a strategy, that's a lottery ticket. The solution: strategy. Alex stopped gambling and became a strategist. He traded hope for data. First, he got crystal clear on his ideal customer. Who were they? Not just hungry people. No, it was office workers on a tight lunch break who valued speed and quality. It was young families in the park on a Saturday who wanted something fun and kid-friendly. It was the late-night crowd near breweries craving something savory. Once he knew who he was looking for, he started hunting for where they gathered. He took a week off from serving and just observed. He sat in his car with a notebook, tracking foot traffic patterns near corporate parks at lunchtime. He studied city event calendars, looking for the smaller, recurring community events with way less competition. And then he took the most critical step. He built relationships. He walked into a local craft brewery that didn't have a kitchen and made a simple pitch. Let me park my truck out front on Friday and Saturday nights. I'll feed your customers, they'll stay longer, and they'll buy more of your beer. We both win. The owner said yes instantly. He did the same with the manager of a huge office park, offering a convenient, high-quality lunch option for everyone working there. The result, the change was immediate. The Rolling Feast wasn't waiting for customers anymore. It was going where they already were. Sales became predictable. That frantic stress of will anyone show up was replaced by the calm confidence of how do we serve this line faster? He wasn't just in a good location, he was a strategic partner. He had optimized his position. For the podiatrist, this is partnering with local running shoe stores. For the developer, it's becoming the go-to expert for a specific niche. It's about moving from a passive hope to an active hunt. You find a flowing river of customers and you put your bucket in it, instead of just standing in a field and waiting for it to rain. That is the power of position. The second pillar of empire, product. With his position locked in and customers lining up, Alex immediately hit a new, much better problem. The volume was exposing the weaknesses in his product. The menu was a little generic. It was a classic case of trying to be everything to everyone. It was okay, but it wasn't memorable. And in a crowded market, okay is a death sentence. To build an empire, you need a product people crave. The problem, the Rolling Feast's menu was bloated. Alex offered a dozen different items, thinking more choice meant more sales. The reality, it was an operational nightmare. It meant a massive, expensive inventory with tons of waste. Service was slow because the kitchen was a chaotic mess, trying to make too many different things at once. And because he was spread so thin, nothing was truly exceptional. He had a mile-wide, inch-deep menu. On top of that, his pricing was based on a gut feeling, not on what was actually making him money. He had no idea which items were gold mines and which were costing him. The solution strategy. Alex became a ruthless editor. First, he dove into his numbers. He looked at what people were actually buying. Then he costed out every single ingredient for every single item. The results were a wake-up call. He found out his most popular item, a gourmet burger, had a razor-thin profit margin because of the fancy bun and specialty cheese he was using. Meanwhile, a simple side of loaded fries, which people loved and was cheap to make, was a cash cow. Armed with data, he did something terrifying. He cut 60% of his menu. Gone. He eliminated everything that was low margin, slow selling, or too complicated. He focused everything on 3 signature sandwiches and those incredibly profitable loaded fries. This is called menu engineering. Then he obsessed over those core items. He tested 4 different kinds of bread to find the perfect one. He tweaked his signature sauce recipe again and again. His product was no longer just food, it was a concept, a unique, memorable experience. He also added seasonal specials to create a little scarcity and give regulars a reason to come back. The result, it was like magic. By offering less, he started selling more. The line moved faster because the kitchen was now a hyper-efficient assembly line. Food costs dropped, waste practically disappeared, and profit margins exploded. But the most important change? The Rolling Feast finally had an identity. People knew what they were coming for. They weren't just getting lunch, they were getting that amazing spicy chicken sandwich. Word of mouth took over. His customers became his marketing team. This is the lesson. Stop trying to be everything. Find your spicy chicken sandwich. What's the one thing you can be the best at? The thing that delivers the most value to your customer and the most profit to you. Find it, perfect it, and build your empire on it. That's the power of product. The third pillar of empire, people. Alex had mastered his position and his product. The truck was in the right place, serving an amazing, profitable menu. The business was thriving, but Alex was burning out. He was still the bottleneck, still working 16-hour days. The success had only made the workload more intense. He finally realized a hard truth. You cannot build an empire alone. The final, most crucial pillar was people. The problem, Alex was trapped by founder's syndrome. He believed, deep down, that no one could do the job as well as him. The thought of someone else taking an order or prepping the food filled him with anxiety. This is the trap that keeps great small businesses small. The owner becomes the lid on the business's potential. Growth is impossible because one person only has 24 hours in a day. The business wasn't a scalable system, it was a one-man show, and that show was hitting its limit. To grow, Alex had to learn to trust, to delegate, and to build systems. The solution strategy. His first step was the hardest. He hired his first employee, Maria. But just hiring someone wasn't the real fix. Creating systems was. Alex knew he couldn't clone himself, but he could download his brain onto paper. He created the Rolling Feast playbook. It was just a simple binder, but it was the key to his freedom. Inside, he documented everything. Picture-based checklists for opening and closing, precise, step-by-step recipes with photos to guarantee consistency, no matter who was cooking. A short script for greeting customers, a simple inventory sheet that made reordering supplies almost automatic. He wasn't just hiring a person, he was plugging a person into a pre-built system. This made training Maria incredibly simple. She wasn't guessing, she was following a proven process, and it empowered her. She knew exactly what to do to succeed. Alex's role started to change. He went from being the main cook to being the coach. He spent his time observing, giving feedback, and making the systems even better. He learned to delegate tasks, and then he learned to delegate outcomes. This freed up his mind and his time to finally think about the future. The result: with Maria running the day-to-day, Alex had time. For the first time in years, he could take a day off. He could step back and see the big picture. His business no longer depended on him being there every second. It was a machine that could run without him. And a business that can run without you is a business that can be scaled. The profits from that one systemized truck funded the down payment for a second truck. He already had the playbook. He wasn't just buying another truck, he was replicating success. This is the ultimate goal, to build something bigger than you. It starts with trust and with building the systems to make that trust pay off. That is the power of people. Building the empire. With the 3 pillars of position, product, and people locked in, the Rolling Feast was no longer in survival mode. It was a well-oiled, profitable, and scalable machine. This is the point where you stop just bouncing back and start truly building. The foundation was so strong that getting bigger felt like the natural next step, not some terrifying leap of faith. Alex took the Rolling Feast playbook and launched a second truck. Because the systems were already proven, the second launch was faster, cheaper, and more successful than the first. He knew which locations to target, what the menu should be, and exactly how to train the new team. The first truck was a painful process of discovery. The second was a confident execution. But the empire wasn't just about more trucks. It was about creating new streams of revenue. That brewery partnership sparked an idea. They asked him to cater their anniversary party. A light bulb went off. Alex created catering packages, using his efficient menu and trained staff to serve at private events, weddings, and corporate lunches. This new division became a massive source of high-margin revenue. Then, customers started asking, "Can I buy your signature sauce?" After a little research, Rolling Feast signature sauce was born. He sold it from the truck, and then, through another strategic partnership, got it into local grocery stores. Do you see how it works? The pillars now support each other. The trucks are moving billboards for the catering and the sauce. The sauce gives customers a piece of the brand to take home. That is the core of an empire. It's an interconnected ecosystem. What started as one struggling food truck became a multi-truck operation, a catering business, and a retail product. Alex's job wasn't making sandwiches anymore. His job was to be the architect of the empire. He had finally escaped the survival trap. Conclusion and call to action. The journey of the Rolling Feast holds the blueprint for any business owner who feels stuck. It proves that bouncing back isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter. It's about building a rock-solid foundation on 3 pillars: position, product, and people. First, position. Stop waiting for customers and go where they are. Trade luck for data. Second, product. Stop trying to be everything to everyone. Find the one thing you can be the best at and perfect it. Trade breadth for depth. And third, people. Stop being the bottleneck. Build systems that empower others to run your vision. trade control for scalability. These aren't just food truck strategies, they are the laws of business growth. Your office is your location, your service is your menu, your team is your crew. So look at your own business right now. Are you stuck in survival mode? Are you confusing motion with progress? It's time to stop. Step back, take a breath, and for the first time in a long time, work on your business, not just in it. Here's your first step. I want you to pick one, just one. Position, product, or people. In the comments below, tell me which pillar you're going to focus on this month and the one specific action you'll take. Will you research 3 new strategic partners? Will you analyze the profitability of your top 3 services? Will you document one core process for a future team member? By committing to that one small strategic action, you are taking your first real step out of survival mode. You are laying the first brick of your own empire. If this story hit home and you're ready to stop surviving and start building, make sure you subscribe and like this video. We share practical strategies like this every single week to help you grow your business and get the freedom you went into business for in the first place. Thanks for watching. Now, go lay that first brick.